Uh-huh. Doesn't look
That's,
that bad. You
no,
gotta
because
teach
I,
me how to do that
cu-
fancy stuff.
yeah, because I blurred it out. That's why it doesn't look bad.
I know. I know
Yeah.
that. You need to teach me how to be fancy like that. Technology, man.
That's it, man. That's it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's pretty good. One of these ears is going, it's probably my headphones. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just going back and forth. It's not you though. I'm not sure why
All
my
right.
headphone is doing that. Yeah,
New
yeah.
headset, new problems.
Yeah, but this is the first time ever it's done
Uh-oh.
this to me, which I'm not always using these headphones though. So anyway, my brother,
We're back.
here we are. Here we are again, live and in living color.
That was a great show.
Man, that was a great show.
Gonna do
I
in
I
living
I, I
color.
find that I don't know, man. I know people really love that show, but I find sometimes in this life a lot of great things you don't really hear them praised a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of great stuff out there that's been done and you just don't you would think people talk about it. I know people do. I know there's circles. I know there are folks that probably still watch Living Color. They get together. I'm sure they got something like that. Everything has some kind of following, but it's just weird, man. I don't hear that come up. Like even on TV, you just don't hear people talk about living color. It's just crazy.
Well, that's true. It was a great sketch show.
It was. It was, man. I
Now,
mean,
correct me if I'm wrong. This is Keenan Ivory Wayans, Damon Wayans,
oh
Jim
yeah.
Carrey.
Jim Carrey, yeah, golly, what's his name? Uh gosh, Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
David Allen Greer.
David
I
Allen
mean,
Greer,
I mean, to me, like I still watch Saturday Night Live, love Saturday Night Live. I remember Mad TV. I think
Mad
I was
TV.
Mad TV was cool from what I remember, but like in
Bobby
living
Lee was great
color,
though. Yeah,
oh Mad TV, yeah,
yeah. Bobby Lee.
yeah.
Yeah.
But man, in living color, it just I still love all
The
those
intro was
sketches.
great.
It
The
was
intro
great,
was great.
man. And
Yeah.
if you look at the trajectory of a lot of those folks, especially your Jim Carreys, your Marlon Way, not Marlon Wayans,
Damon.
Damon Wayans, even Tommy Day. Why do I keep saying Tommy Lee? Tommy
Tommy
Davidson
Davidson.
in the 90s. Um, really what he did. But yeah, man, I forgot exactly what I wanted to say about it, but it was yeah, I was going somewhere and so I started reeling off all those people again.
We
You
were
know.
just talking about how nobody talks about in living color.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
it was
then
such a they don't talk about the
oh,
positive.
I was
Yep.
just talking about a sketch I still remember to this day, and anytime I watch it, oh, Jamie Foxx, how could we forget?
Jamie
Bro,
Foxx was on there too.
yes. Yes, Jamie Foxx
Wow.
played Wanda on there. He was
Okay.
Wanda, and he
Yeah.
was like the guy with the he had a dog. He was a blind guy, and he had a dog, but the dog was dead. And he would walk, and he'd be like, "Roo, roo, roo." It was so funny, man. But one of the sketches I always remember, and I go and watch, and I show my daughters, was Jim Carrey as the karate guy. Oh, bro, he's bro. I just remember him teaching the sketch where he's teaching the ladies how to protect themselves. And the lady gets this knife and he's like, stab me. And he's like, watch this. And she like literally stabs him. He's like, oh. And he's like, you were supposed to do it like this. Cause she just went in. Bro, it's hilarious, man. He's like, you didn't stab me right. It's like
that
hilarious.
sounds that sounds like in some way a good analogy for today's society. Like you're supposed to do it a certain way,
Exactly.
and then you just people are
Yeah.
people, so they're creative. They're going to do it their own way. you know.
And yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, how you doing, bro?
A little congested, as you can tell, a little bit of a runny nose.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's
just par for the course, old age, aging body, you know.
yeah, true that. True that. Aging body, especially when you get busy, right? A little stress on your plate, body a little
Uh,
bit more susceptible.
yeah, yeah, stress definitely makes your immune system weaker, but
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much more used to the stress. So it's just mentally, I think I'm more used to the stress. Maybe my body's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, last time we talked, I was just kind of being very vulnerable about my mental side of it, the struggle
Right.
of the work,
Right.
which is for anybody that did happen to see that last one. I mean, it highlights anybody that goes into any type of field where you're starting from scratch, learning how to sell, learning how to make it on your own, so to speak, with me. And it's just
Yeah.
it's a part of life. I mean, just because I have all that going on, it doesn't stop Evie from, loving me or having a meltdown, or Bishop loving me, or him having a meltdown, or Jill loving me and her having a
Don't
meltdown.
say it.
One, two, three, a combination of three, two and
Yeah.
three, three and one and two. It's
Yeah.
the human condition. What are we supposed to do?
Right.
Either give up or you get up and keep going.
Right. And it was interesting. Just kind of reminded me of something this week. I kind of had a really I have these, you know, tough moments from time to time that is trauma stemming from, my deep dark experience I had now over 10 years ago. And
Has it been that long already?
bro, it's been that long. It's 2014.
I was
Yeah,
about
we
to
get
ask how long you and Ashley have been together because I was thinking about it
yeah.
this morning and I was like, they've got to been together at least 10 years now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, our 10-year anniversary. Yeah, April. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been 10 years. But
Can
yeah,
you believe
man.
that Jill and I have been together for 11 years now?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, y'all knew each other before me and Ashley did. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't
Um,
that wild?
it is. It is.
A friggin' decade plus.
It is. And didn't you meet Jill like towards the tail end of us being roommates or something like that?
No, we weren't. I don't think we were roommates anymore. I
We had
was
moved out. Oh,
living
okay.
with Billy Bob at that point in time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember that time when we were moving and Billy Bob got onto me because we started playing basketball? It's like, James, we're trying to move this stuff in. What are you doing? It was like literally next
Man.
door, and I just couldn't help myself.
Was our neighbor out there too? Was he with us that time?
Yeah, Zach was helping us. Zach,
Not
wait,
Zach. I'm
oh,
talking about our
Bo?
neighbor. Yeah, Bo. Was he
No, he'd
playing?
already
That wasn't
gone.
at the.
He was already
Oh,
gone
okay.
at that point,
Okay.
I think. Yeah,
Okay.
man, that house.
That's
Have
funny,
tempted to
man.
buy that house one day and rent it out to four strangers, charge them two
Yeah.
fifty a month in rent.
Yeah.
The
Right. Man, that was a man great experience though, man. The house was cool, man. That was
house was
fun.
cool, man.
That was like almost like college living as grown folks,
Yeah,
as grown adults.
yeah,
That
it
was
was.
fun. That
It
was
was
fun,
fun.
man.
I'd finished
But
that little house in the back though, that mother-in-law suite.
you did?
No, I would want to.
Oh, you wanted? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. What I was about to say earlier when I was talking about the little low moment I had this week. You mentioned like how you were thinking about like you think about your kids and your wife and how things just must still keep going on no matter what. I really appreciated this week being able to see my kids and hold my kids during that time. I was like, they still love me, despite
Yes,
whatever. And I was just thanking God. I was just thanking God, like,
yes,
I appreciate this because even in these moments where I may feel unworthy and down and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, thank you for these shining, beautiful faces that are who they are, you know?
right.
Yeah.
And the hope is that as they get older, they remain connected,
Hmm.
and even more so when they experience their own dark moments, that they'll reach out
Yeah.
and talk about it. And then as
Mhm.
adults, we can share not, I mean, only as much as they can handle, but so they can see us in a way that's relatable and understand, like, oh, this is it. It's unique to me, but it is a human condition. It is something that it took time, but you can work out of over time. And the most important thing is the touch factor, being able to give the person a hug. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, if we were to kind of go through this alone in our singleness, aloneness, I
Mm-mm.
I used to think very
Yeah.
very stupid, and a lot of people do think this, that oh it's okay, it's just a thing, you'll just get over it. You can just
Mm.
will yourself out of it. Sometimes you can't,
You can. You
and you
can.
do
Yeah.
need medical help. You do need
Yeah.
consistent counseling. You do need
Y-
human touch.
y-
And also, too, even with all those things, there's still that much of a chance
Yeah.
that it might not be enough. But
Yeah. Bro, that's so significant what you said, man. Like, because for some reason in our little finite minds, we feel like a lot of times as humans that we will be okay and it's something for us to just silent, just kind of fight by ourselves,
yeah,
and
silently suffer.
we don't want to bring,
Right.
anybody in on this, and we're trying to get, but no, man, I agree with you. Like, some things you just have to. I mean, you
Yeah.
just have to get help. And I think sometimes it's hard to get help in the moment. I know, like with me, if I'm feeling like I'm spiraling a little bit, it can be hard for me to reach out. Like, I know even my pastor has told me at times, if I ever feel like I'm kind of going into that dark place or whatever, just call them or whatever. And more times than not, when I have those, when that reoccurs, it's my wife that's reaching out to my
Right.
pastor. My pastor's like, hey, you feel this thing coming on, call me. I will talk to you. We will pray about. I'll talk to you. And I'm getting there where in my
Well,
mind, but it's still every time it feels, it's that shame, you don't want to call somebody. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing of it is when people say it's okay, just call me and just reach out to me, or they call you,
Yeah.
or they call you. They do what they say they're going to do. What I found was it was hard for me to just even want to talk. I
Yeah.
didn't want to talk. I knew what I had to do. You know, I know
Right.
I needed to reach out. I knew that I would, but I didn't have the. I didn't want to talk. I knew I needed to. And
Right.
it's hard. I don't know. I mean, all I contribute to is was a miracle that I'm back to. I would say probably 80%, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say 100, uh, but just knowing that you can tell that from our last conversation to now that
Hmm.
it's pretty much like it's a shift. You
Hmm.
know, even people talking to me, they can tell it's like, oh, you sound more like yourself now. You didn't sound like yourself back in almost 6 months ago now.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
doesn't even seem like it was that long ago what it was. And it's again for people that struggle, just know that genuine people genuinely care about you, and they do and will reach out to you. And it's okay if you don't have the strength to reach out to them or want to take the call, but that's okay. It You can get to a place where you're past it. You're on the other side of it. Just, you know, the one thing that I can say for certainty is that when you're gone, the people that love you will miss you.
Right.
That's
Right.
one certainty.
Right.
One certainty that
Yeah.
when you are gone, the people that love you will miss you. If they
Right.
genuinely love you, they will miss you. Think about it. We all have friends or family that we could think of right in this moment that we just genuinely miss. We can't really think about, the bad times. We can call them up. If we genuinely miss them, we need to think about the good times. We think about the conversations or the wanting to talk. And,
Right.
you know, these types of events are set on by life events, stressors that we can't control. And it's amazing that we live in a country where we don't have to worry about our very basic needs. We're not in a fight or flight scenario. We can
Right.
deeply delve into issues and talk about issues and think about issues. We are wonderfully made because I don't see dogs stressing out about this kind of stuff,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's just interesting how uh like you said, we live in a place, a country, we got lots of freedoms and luxuries, but it just shows that we all need each other. This is the human
Yeah.
condition,
Yeah.
mental health is a real thing, and yeah, we need each other, man. Yeah. I kind of lost my track again, man. Let's talk about what's going on, man. Let's catch up with
Well,
what's going
I
on.
just um getting experience with different types of scenarios, so that's good within my work because of the more experience I have in different types of scenarios, it's good.
Yeah.
And that's just me talking about the work environment, mortgage world. That's boring. Who wants to hear about that?
Right.
But for
I'm
you,
just kidding.
you're no, I'm just saying. I mean, but for you, I mean, you're about to embark on a new chapter in your life. Your school's closed, and
Yeah.
you're thinking about next steps. And
Yeah, man.
you were talking about your nonprofit and math academy, and just how you still have a feeling and a voice for kids in general, but you've still got some passions inside of you that you're willing to kind of still do. And that's the thing about what makes life so great. You can pull events and skills from various pieces of your life and put
Yeah,
it together and
man.
use it forever if you want to.
That is one awesome part I would say about life. And I think the sad thing is, some individuals, because they may not have had that foundation and that understanding, I think sometimes they can go through life and miss the the luxury of being able to see their lives from a 30,000-foot view and being able to
Right.
see how these skills have come together and how, it's it can just open new doors through new perspectives. And so yeah, I would say right now, um, the juncture I'm at, I'm definitely kind of reaching back and seeing some things differently and now combining them with this new perspective and skills to be able to create some experiences for myself and now my wife and my family. Specifically right now, one interesting thing is since my school is closed, I've been thinking about shifting from science to math, and that's something I've had in my mind for about a year. I said if I keep going after my school closes, I'm gonna do math, but also in an unexpected turn of events or circumstance, I'm now looking to get back into engineering, which is interesting because I mean my father-in-law, my mother, and even my wife over the years, last 7, 8 years, as I've struggled my way through education and enjoyed it, but they know the rigor of the classroom. So they've asked me, you know, why don't you just go back to your engineering job? Why don't you just do that? And I'm like, I think about it, but just didn't have a heart to really entertain it. And at this juncture in my life, I can honestly say I'm actually looking forward to it and I'm embracing it. And that's multifaceted. On one side, on one side, I'm looking forward to it just because now I'm kind of able to uh get my feel of education through our nonprofit, through the nonprofit my wife and I established, because with that nonprofit, we recruit students, we find students, and we're able to kind of create the atmosphere we would desire in the classroom, but outside the classroom. So we're able to kind of create this experience for students, and I'm able to educate them in that way, and with math, science, career prep, all that kind of stuff. And so now that that's been established, it's kind of opened my capacity to entertain something else. And so um, with engineering, I believe that I would be able to maintain whatever capacity I need to run a nonprofit, and get that kind of support behind it so that it could run on its own, with me just kind of managing it while I'm you know working full time. So yeah, man, this is all new to me. 6 months ago, I wasn't even focused on a nonprofit. I was still trying to build our for profit up, and then the Lord shifted me about 3 months ago. And it's funny because I remember thinking, okay, school's closing. I would love to be able to work my own business, develop full time income, because I've been thinking about that for a while. And I believe
Yep.
the Lord just said, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to focus on this non you need to focus on this nonprofit. That's where you're gonna be able to develop that kind of momentum to have full-time income. And so I kind of dropped the for-profit I was working on for the time and focused in on a nonprofit. And that's when the Lord brought to my mind Math Academy, which of course we just finished Math Academy
How did that go?
yesterday. Oh man, it was excellent. We had 14 kids. So our our goal was to have like 25 kids, but we ended up having up to 14 kids. And we had, let's see, 13 Monday, dropped off to 8 Tuesday, then we had 14 on Wednesday, I think 9 on Thursday, 10 on Friday. But it was a free camp. And you know how people do with free. Sometimes they
Oh
commit,
yeah.
sometimes they don't.
Oh
But it
yeah.
was amazing for the kids that came, and it was amazing for us. It was taxing for us. It was stressful. It was all those things that you can expect with your first time doing
Oh
something
yeah.
as robust as a full camp, a week long camp. But man, it was a
What does
blessing.
what does the what do you guys teach in Math Academy?
So in Math Academy, um, it's tailored towards building confidence and fluency in math. And so we do 7th through 12th grade, 7th, 8th, and ninth grades. We're focused, is very focused on their grade level. We pre-assess them on that previous grade, and make sure they're caught up with that and really ready to go to that next grade. 10th through 12th, we focus on ACT prep. But see, all of that is what we call our enrichment period. But one thing that all the students engage in at the same time is what I would call cross-cutting principles, things that they're going to use all the time. As you know, in banking, percentages are so important. So we do a lot of team oriented activities that deal with principles such as that. Just measurements, percentages, things that they would use every day. And this week's theme was financial literacy. So Tuesday
Mm.
through Thursday, the team oriented activity, which is about an hour a day, delve into financial literacy. Students had a budget. They were given money. We had paper money. They learned about how they could consolidate loans. So they had several loans, personal loans, credit cards, and they knew that they saw how this was weighing on their budget, how and they saw how by consolidating loan they could kind of lower their monthly, and then they understood the power of interest either to hinder them or to help them, so they began understanding investments more. And man, that's what we did, the practical
Mm.
side of things plus the enrichment side.
That's
Man,
cool.
we got great feedback from parents. Said a lot of, so put it like this. For instance, one day I took a poll. It was the day we had 13. So Monday, only two of the students considered themselves good or proficient in math. Um, and one of the testimonies that we got back, or a couple testimonies like this, where parents just shared, said their child didn't like math, but they love this camp. They've been coming home every day talking about what they've learned. And
That's
they just,
great.
yeah, man, they just said how much of a blessing it was
Yeah.
for them, man. So
Hmm.
that's,
Huh. Could you do a component where like you have a for that what you just did recently? It would be hard, but I was just thinking of like a separate component to where the parents could come in, not in the classroom with their kids because the kids could, it's a, distracting,
mhm.
but for like a financial literacy refresher,
Yeah,
you know, and allow the parents to come in, and you just do the exact same thing with the parents, and just for them to kind of see it for themselves.
bro.
They don't have to actually participate at the same level as the kids, of course, but just
Right.
for them to kind of see it,
Yeah.
because we both know as adults how real that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
on paper. For a kid, they're like, oh, okay. But, as a
Yeah.
parent, it's like, darn right that interest is killing me. you know,
Bro. Yes. And
and
I
that's
love it, man.
maybe like that version, that refresher version, maybe I wouldn't say charge, but it's like, hey, would you guys like make a contribution at the tail end or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something,
I
something,
agree. I agree
you
though,
know.
man. I agree that's neat. It's so necessary. It's just interesting. Um, because to me, if you don't have a strong foundation in financial literacy, um, you really can, that probably follows you just about more than anything in your life. Your finances, everything's
Hmm.
working through your money. And if you don't have
Hmm.
that strong foundation, it's really hard. It's interesting. It's like, even though the knowledge, the information is so close to all of us, because it's everywhere. It's internet. There's somebody walking by you daily that has got it. They know what to do with their money, but it still eludes you for so long. Like, if you don't have a strong foundation, if you haven't had somebody really sit down, explain it to you, and walk you through the process, sometime of budgeting and investing, and so on and so forth. So I definitely think it's needed. I definitely will think about how we can incorporate that.
Well, if you, I understand why it happens for people, um, because we're all just trying to live life. You know,
Right, right,
we get a paycheck so we can take care of our four walls: food, shelter, clothing, transportation, the
right.
basic necessities. Okay. And then you throw kids in the mix. Well, it's until they can fend for themselves, you're taking care of them too.
Right.
And then you got to have some fun. You got to be able to relax and enjoy yourself. And next thing you know, it's all gone. It's just the
Yeah.
discipline of saying, okay, I make $1,000 a month before I do any of these other things. Percentages, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. Set it aside, invest it, tithe it, whatever. But those things first,
Yeah.
and then track down to things that need to be done, and hopefully the number's positive at the end. But if you're in survival mode, you just gotta survive.
Yeah.
And
And
but
you
if
know
when
what?
you're in a survival mode habit, it's hard to break that habit
It's
of
hard to break. I think
look
what
at
you
it.
Yeah. And you said it, man. A lot of people are just in survival mode and have been in survival mode a long time. Like you
Yeah,
said, it's very hard to break. But you mentioned, put that aside for savings and things like that. We know the adage,
yeah,
pay
process.
yourself first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Pay yourself first. But again, it's so hard when you're in survival mode. But if we could help individuals,
right.
if we had a program even where we could help individuals, you know how there's different programs, government programs, credit unions have some programs, just different places have programs to help individuals. But what I'm seeing and hearing as you talk is, what if we had a program like you said, a refresher that brought in folks that have been in survival mode and help them assess where they were and how they could get back to zero, back to
Hmm.
par,
Yeah,
and reestablish. Now that you're at par, pay yourself. This is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna change your spending habits so
right,
that now you're reacting like you don't have it to spend where you would have been wasting because you've already put it in savings. But
right,
now that's what, because so many people, because they've been in survival mode, they never set that aside, and they're
right.
they're in, just constantly kind of impulsive and everything. And I even was talking to my mom last night because Ashley and I mean, it happens. We kind of had recently kind of like a snowball effect because we got behind on some stuff. And once you get behind, it's really
Yep.
hard to see the pay yourself first thing, because now you're just trying to catch up. You know
Right,
what I mean? So,
right.
but so a lot of times people just need that reset. They need to
Yep,
be able to
yep.
reset and start doing that so they can build again.
Which
Yeah.
is why, people will always kind of scoff at self-lending, saying that, why on a if I take out $20 out of savings, why am I going to pay it back in payments, charge myself interest
Mhm.
when I can just pay back the $20? It's like it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about addressing the habit. Addressing
Yeah.
the habit of when you have a credit card, you know, on a credit card you charge $20 and you either pay in well, $20 is too low. Let's just say 100, 100 bucks. It's like you know, why charge myself interest on $100 when I can just, pay it off in full? Okay. What do you do with $100 credit limit? You know, like a $500 credit limit, 100 credit card dollar balance, got minimum payments of 20 bucks on it. They're not making interest off of you. They have to disclose how much interest they're making off of you on the credit card statement, saying if you pay the minimum payment, this is how much you pay on the life of
Right.
the balance.
Right.
They want you to pay the minimum payment because they're making money off the interest they charge you. So instead of
Yeah.
doing that,
Yeah.
do the exact same thing with yourself. Why not do the exact same thing with yourself? It's math.
Right.
It's all
It's
it is
man.
math. And so all
Right.
you have to do is take, and I know it's hard, $20. I can do the $20, but it's not about that. It's about the habit. It's about the
It's about
process.
the yeah.
Breaking that process off of that you're already doing to somebody else is you're doing it to yourself. And then and again, it's very, very hard to do because you don't have anybody else to hold you accountable. Credit card, you stop paying your credit card, it affects your credit reports. It has a snowball
Mm.
effect. But if you can create an economy of people that are holding each other accountable, saying, "Hey, did you make your payment to yourself this month?" Then the vision of that self lending concept, it was always going to have it's so much bigger than me. You'd have to have a whole generation of people buying into it. You'd have to have
Right.
build a network around it. You'd have to. There's
Right.
so much little things that go on behind it. But I was thinking about English Academy.
Mm-hmm.
You have Math Academy. To me, the core things of society in a society is math, obviously. Because when you were talking
Mm-hmm.
about science, I was like, well, what's the difference between math and science? Uh, but English and math, these are the two core foundations of a society. Having
Mm-hmm.
an English academy where you basically do what Math Academy does, I'd have no interest in English Academy for me because as a teacher and a student. But I'm just saying that English Academy, it seems to me, would be just a natural thing because from a testing standpoint, having English Academy, that's going to be on your ACTs, it's going to be on your test. You know,
Right.
being able to
Right.
read and understand law and the things like that we were talking about
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
You know, math and English, these two, I mean, these it's just it's a
Right.
no brainer to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, the self-lending concept that you've been talking about for years, man, I think that would be like a major component if we were to do something with
Sure.
parents that we would want to do, man,
Oh
want to
yeah.
discuss with them. That's huge.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how it would start in that type of
Hmm.
environment where you have a group of people all getting together. You have this
Yeah.
crazy Asian looking guy come up and he looks like he should probably talk with an Asian accent and don't really talk English that well. And then next he's flopping over. It's like, well, guys, I just don't know. I just don't know about the mountains anymore. It's too foggy outside. You know, and then they're like, who brought this guy in? And then he started breaking down all that stuff. Oh, you're Asian. You got to be good at math, right? You got to be good at math. Like, no, I suck at math. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, it's really just taking an idea, a concept that has already being done to you, and just
Hmm.
doing it to yourself. And
Yeah.
that's the essence of it. And you just have, 5, 10 people, just one person has to say, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then
Right.
everybody else in that group says, hey, what day you want to set that payment at? 15th. It's like, okay. Is it okay if I remind you to say, hey, it's the 15th. Did you pay yourself that minimum payment on that $20? I think it was only like $5. You decide that you want to pay it back over 3 months, you know? So,
Right.
yeah, obviously, when you pay it back, you're going to have put in more than you spent, of course. But if you
Hmm.
put it into an interest bearing account, what you put back more in, that's actually working for you. It's compounding daily
Right.
because it has
Right.
to. It has to because you're putting it into a high yield savings account.
Right.
So it's a recapture of something. But all you're doing is taking a concept that's being used on you and you're using on yourself, and where you actually gain the benefit of it if you put it into a high yield savings account, that's where it's actually working. So again, it's it's silly on smaller dollar amounts, and I've factored in an interest rate where it actually, it has to be like a 16% minimum interest rate. But at the end of the day, it's building the habit. Like, okay, it doesn't hurt for me to lend myself $10. It's like that's great. That means you're doing well. And this is a good barometer for people's finances too. Okay. So it's like, that's great. $10 doesn't hurt you. Okay. Put a zero at the end of it. $100. Nah, it doesn't buy and put $100 next paycheck. Okay. Okay, that's great. $1,000. Uh I can still do that. I can still do that. Yeah. All right. What about $5,000? Okay, yeah, then I'll have to put that in payments to myself. Yeah. If I were to
Yeah.
lend myself $5,000, that's gonna hurt. I have
That's
to
gonna
put
hurt.
myself in payments.
You know what's interesting, James? This is what I'm realizing. It's funny because I think as adults, in this society, in American society, we're kind of taught, because we're taught independence, and we get educated, and we have uh jobs and security and all this kind of stuff. It's like we still we miss things, such as we've talked about in the past, time management, but then now one that's probably even bigger and more significant, finances. Don't get me wrong, time management is huge, but we miss these things. And because of our pride, kind of like what we talked about earlier with, when we're going through these dark times, with mental health issues and stuff, we don't want to talk about it in the same way. It's almost like things like finances and stuff we miss out on because we're not as humble in that place, and we're not in a position to receive information freely from the sources that are available for us to get it from. And I'm realizing this at my juncture in life, that even though I've kind of had an ear to listen to things over the years, I've still been hindered just by myself being in the way. And I realized that with, time management, because I'm sure there were people that told me did things like that. And I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can do all that. I got that. And now I'm realizing more so my life with finances. And I thank God that, I've gotten to this place, and through trying to help others, and having you as my friend, and you telling me things over the years, I'm getting to a place now, kind of a breaking place, where I can really see, and there's a sense of positive desire and urgency. And it's
That's
funny
it. That's
because
it.
this has come also with this breaking point with engineering and that juncture of my career, which, as you know, at one point in
Yeah.
time, I said, first of all, I didn't want to be an engineer, even though I got a degree, and then didn't embrace and enjoy it. But like now I'm at a point in time in my family and my career where it just makes sense, and it feels good, and it's a sense of completion to go ahead, pursue it, finalize it, and build a foundation for the rest of my life
Right.
with it. So it's
Yeah.
just an interesting place, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that we get called back to certain things, and that it,
Right.
and when we get called back to it, for the most part, it feels comfortable. It feels
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And case in point, you know, I left the banking world in 2007 to do mortgages with Countrywide Full Spectrum Lending. They closed my
Right.
branch. I had to go back into banking. Here we are, end of 2023. I'm back into the mortgage world. Now,
Right.
is it comfortable? It's not comfortable, but it's interesting being called back
Yeah.
into things.
Yeah.
It feels like, for the most part in life, all I've known is my life here in America. I can't speak for my life in Thailand because I've never grown up in Thailand. But
Right.
I feel like in my life, I've been very blessed to be able to always have a roof over my head, always have a full belly, uh, good health for the most part. Uh, I've had so much, and if everybody knew my life story, they would be really amazed, really amazed. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's this is we're doing this for our kids. This
Right.
is for them. And when I say our kids, I mean for as many kids that will carry on our bloodline, and even our
Mm.
spiritual kids that
Yeah.
align with us. You know,
Yeah.
the greatest treasure in life. So, a good friend of mine, known since childhood, uh, he has this very simple concept, great concept. He doesn't like things that cause too much brain damage, or it's
Mhm.
just too much effort, too much thinking, too much of that. And
Mhm.
so he's very smart, very much, like, from a financial aspect, very much like I am he is like leagues away from us.
Mm.
Completely different reality. And I have to tell you about it. But you know, but he just, we're sitting there talking about different things. He's like, yeah, nah, I don't want to do that. It's too much brain damage. So I'm like, I'm gonna start using that brain damage. Yeah, you were right. So it's hard. Meditation is good for slowing everything down to be able to self reflect. And I
Hmm.
don't engage in it as much as I used to when I was 16. Prayer is a good example, but slowing down and being able to kind of just slow down, whether you reflect on anything or not, it's very important. And it's just interesting in that this life, we, like I said, as human beings, we are so unique. I have
Right.
not met any other creature in existence like us that
Mm.
self reflects, tries to understand why we're here, destroys each other, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
destroys its planet, destroys its environment, creates its environment,
Yeah.
you know. It's
It's
it's so
amazing.
it's all so wonderful. The only thing
Yeah.
that could potentially be like us is something that we inherently created, which is artificial intelligence. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, it's interesting seeing what's going to be happening over the next 100 years, next 1,000 years, next 10,000 years. You know, and then we just think about within this realm. You know,
Yeah.
we haven't broken through to the other realm. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, man.
amazing that
It's
we've been able to kind of just be able to do all this and at the same time laugh about stuff. Laughter is so wild, man. Comedy is so crazy.
it
So
it it
at some point in time, you're going to tell me, like, well, I started my own comedy show, and I'm
you
going
know
to be
it
like, I'm all for it.
you know it's funny. I said I wanted to have a 1 hour set before I turned 40. I turned 40 in November, but right now that's not my focus. So I don't know if I'll make that one, but I do think I'll make my other one that I've had in recent years. I said, well, when I turn 40, I don't necessarily want to be working in the classroom. I think that one's about to come true because I don't think I'm gonna be in the classroom this upcoming school year. But it comedy is
Hey, that's
amazing,
great.
man. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
Comedy is amazing because it's like literally somebody can be going through a tragedy, a loss of a loved one or something that really hurts them, and somebody can say something, and they just,
They
and
laugh.
it just, yeah, it's just like,
and
and it
and the
feels
effect
good.
of it too, the
Yeah,
effect of it, isn't it
yeah,
weird how when you laugh, like
yeah.
it just shifts you. It just
God
shifts
gave
you.
us that. Yeah, man,
Yeah, it's
for
it's like
sure.
it's a magical superpower,
It's
supernatural
amazing.
thing.
It
You
is.
know,
It's
it's
amazing.
crazy how people can like a kid fell off a bike, you just die out laughing like the poor little kid just broke his
It,
leg in half. That's not
yeah,
funny,
yeah.
but you can laugh at it. It's like
You,
what?
you know what's interesting, man? When I was in my darkest hour, and I literally could not extract any kind of happiness, it seemed, or joy for that matter, from anything around me. All I could do every day was watch the show Ridiculousness,
Yeah,
because that show had me, and
yeah.
this was in its new season. This is like 2014, but it had me rolling, man. But
Did it
even
did it help?
still, it helped, man, because
Okay.
like keep in mind, well, let's keep in mind, let's put it in perspective. I mean, there was no lifting me out of that place at the time,
Right.
but it at least helped me cope.
That's right. That's right. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing is if you're going through it, uh just I've often had an image in my mind when I am sometimes struggling is I see myself uh in armor, battle weary, scarred up, and I just get into like one knee on the ground, one foot about to stand up, a sword in the ground, just pushing myself up. That's
Mm,
that's an image that I have. Like
yeah.
like I'm having to push myself up into a standing position. So that's how I know when I'm about to go through it. If I start feeling like that, because that's the only thing imagery wise that I can equate it to
Mm,
is like I'm trying to get back up, but I'm
yeah,
in a kneeling position, one foot trying to push myself up, hand on the hilt of the sword trying to push up.
yeah,
So that's when I know that there's a struggle in there. And so, I mean, it's at the end of the day, again, it's the human condition. I could be, you know, out in the rice field somewhere picking rice, but it's relative. It's relative to our situation, and it doesn't minimize or discredit it or discount it. But just knowing that you have people that do want to help you and will help you, that really matters.
it
And
does.
that's what society needs to get back to. It needs to get away from senseless violence. It needs to get away from tearing itself down, and the same amount of energy that it takes to destroy, just create. Just keep creating.
Right.
We could solve diseases and all that stuff all many times over, but there's just not that willpower to live in living color. We gotta
Yeah.
stop living in black and white and start living in color,
Bro, that's
because you
something
can do what
right.
you want to do and live in color.
All right, I'm gonna give you that, man. You go ahead. I got it the first time, I think, but that was good. You brought it back. Um,
Do what you
so
wanna do.
so look, I got an idea while you were talking about that. I was just thinking, man, can you imagine how much potential is in like all the people in prisons, like like when
Absolutely.
we talk about like mind power and stuff, there's so much that we're losing in
Absolutely.
society there.
Absolutely.
That's
Right.
crazy,
Exactly.
man.
And some come out and they do really wonderful things. Some,
Hmm.
but it's far few. And you know, the question is, when you come out, do you want a life that's better? Like what do you want out of this life?
Yeah.
I
And
mean, if you want to be in survival mode the rest of your life, what does it look like? And that's the thing. Like what would genuinely make you happy
but I think the
and
problem,
complete?
yeah, I think the problem though, James, I think the problem is a lot of people aren't having that conversation with them though. And I think that's why a lot of individuals end up there.
Yeah.
They haven't had these folks to, somebody to help them develop a vision to give and provide them the support until they
Yes.
get there. We know from a psychological perspective, the human brain for males isn't like fully developed until like 25, 26. For females, it's something like 22, 23. You know what I mean? So a lot of these
Might be
folks,
8.
yeah, right. A lot of these folks make these mistakes, start making this cycle of mistakes starting at 13. By the time they're 16, 17, 18, they're in the system. And then it's just this cycle. And a lot of, let's be real, a lot of these prisons don't have a real true rehabilitation system when it comes to developing the character and the integrity, the touching the human core of these individuals to get them to a place where they're beginning to project what do I want truly when I get out and how can I get it? How can I get there?
Well, also too, it goes back to everybody keeps talking about the home environment, but it is true. It is true. If you
Yeah.
have a single family single parent household, and a child is forced to grow up way faster than they're supposed to,
Hmm.
you think about it.
Yeah.
Think it acting like an adult when they're actually supposed to be kids and being developed. So, having the blessing of having kids is you get to see your kids grow up, like
Yeah.
really grow up, like, and you realize, and again, I was about to say, unless you're a dummy, but again, our pride or our self-image or ego, whatever you want to call this, does get in the way. And I am a dummy. So yeah, I am a dummy. So I forget everybody was once a kid.
Mm,
When you look at kids, like when you look at little kids, like they are so they just want to have fun. They just
right,
want to play. They're not like I have yet to meet a kid that come out and act exactly like an adult. You
right,
know,
right.
they're
Yeah,
not trying to hurt somebody or steal somebody or kill somebody or you know what I'm
hmm,
saying?
right.
Kids when they're kids are just trying to survive, eat,
Yeah.
and then when they laugh at you and they recognize you and they smile at you,
Yeah,
that type of stuff that that and they just want to love on you,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Unless I'm
So true.
mistaken, somebody may have evidence of it, but pretty much all kids are like that.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree. Yeah.
So if all kids are like that, then we've got to understand at some point those kids, they something happens, events, parents, biology, whatever, and they end up there
Yeah.
doing bad things, being in prison.
Hmm.
And it's hard. It's hard to look at somebody that has knowingly and willingly committed violence against somebody and see them as a child. Because again, by that point, they've got so many of these layers of events on top of them that you
Right.
can't disregard those. You can't discount those.
Right.
And so it's hard to just because there's some adults that are just really messed up. I mean, like you're
Yeah.
not you should stay in jail. Or unfortunately,
Yeah.
the death penalty maybe should be an option. But
Yeah.
there's the few
Yeah.
that genuinely want to do well. They just
Well, and
made some mistakes.
I think it's, and I think this is what you were saying too. I think it's the majority that want to do well makes mistakes because the few are like the hardened criminals. Like in jail, you don't have that many hardened criminals where they like, mass murder. If you let them out, they're gonna do it again. You do have hardened criminals, but the majority of individuals in jail, are not. Matter of fact, if we're really just transparent about it, like the majority of folks that in jail got in jail, got in the cycle of jail, doing things that are legal now in states. In some
Yeah,
states,
yeah,
like
yeah.
so,
That's right.
and
That's
and
right.
that started the pattern. That gave them a felony, and then they couldn't get work, and so that's a whole look. That's a segment for another day. We both know.
That is like that is like when we look at our society, I look at America and I'm like, I love America. And then I was like, I just want to take the good of it and
Yeah,
just put it on another country and just start from scratch. You
yeah,
know,
that would be nice.
just start it from
But
scratch.
it's
It just the economy's already built.
yeah,
The
yeah.
infrastructure is already built from a civilization standpoint, and then just but you can't.
But you
So the only
can.
thing to do is be just have. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not trying to incite insurrection, but never mind. Yep, just test that idea out the way. Just taking the existing stuff that already is like, okay, th- y'all be what you want to, and we'll be this, and we'll just call this a completely different. Reminds me of an episode of Family Guy where he had his own sovereign country within his house. It was a Peter Landia or something like it was. I can't remember,
Eh,
but I was
y-
like,
y- y- at the end of the day, James, what you're getting at is the only thing we can do, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Us as people of faith, as believers,
right,
we know in the Word it tells us there's some things that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to minister to the downtrodden, the brokenhearted, the widows, those in prisons, the fatherless, all of these people that we've talked about today. That's our mission. We're
yep,
supposed to minister to them, minister to their needs, tell them about Jesus, because in this fallen state where we deal with mental health, and we deal with all of the, the atrocities that we put on each other because of this fallen state of sin, that we're in. We've got to minister and let people know that there is hope. There was one that came and died for us so that we could be reconciled. So there is hope in Jesus. At the end of the day, you know, that's what we can
That's
give the
it.
people. And that's not
That's it.
something from us. And we know that's not something that is like, oh, we're trying to convince people. It's what we can give because it was freely given to us. And that's what
That's
we
it.
got to
That's all we
do.
can do. We can
Yeah.
only give a very supernatural offer, supernatural gift, freely given. You take it, or you don't,
Yeah.
and we see what happens next after this life.
That's it, man.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all we can do. And that's it. We can try to make this place better, but we already messed it up from the beginning.
Yep.
So, and that's why we keep. We, I would not complain at all if he came like right now. I would not.
Yeah.
It's amazing how I grew from that place of I didn't want like I don't want him to come,
Mm-hmm.
because I like my life so much, it's so good and all that. To
Yeah.
no, just come, it's fine. Like now, I uh people, I just me thinking people that are kind of a little bit naive in the faith, they want to. It's like, oh, when I die, I'll go to see Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like I am not that place of wanting to die to see Jesus. I want him to come now,
Yeah.
like now.
Yeah.
I would rather see him on this side of my life. I don't want to die and then see him. I want to be old and wrinkly and crinkly and smelly and funky, die in my last breath, and then
Do
see
you,
that.
do you
That's
have to be
scary.
out?
I'd rather him see. I'd rather see him now.
Do you have to be all those things though before you,
Well,
old,
I mean, it's
wrinkly,
a technology.
stinky?
If it's a technology doesn't, if we get this magic pill in the next 20, 30 years that'll keep us at our current state, yeah, I'll take it. But
Stop calling old people stinky.
look, I know okay. Okay. I'm just going to say it just for myself. I know as my body is aging,
Yeah.
there's some smells that are coming out of my body that are just they're either controlled or uncontrolled. They're
That's
coming.
funny.
It's
That's
it's
funny,
part of
man.
it's a part of the human condition. I mean, just the same
Yeah.
as like when I get up, when I try to stand up out of this chair. I could just stand up out of the chair. You know, when I was younger, no problem. Probably jump out of the chair. Whereas now I can stand up out of the chair. It's like, God, jeez, oh God, it aches so much. And they
Yeah.
talk about inflammation in your body. I'm like, when I was young, what's the inflammation in the body? It's like
Right.
what they're saying, what they're trying to describe is the feeling of it literally feels like you're burning.
Yeah. Right. Br- Bro, but on the point though of Jesus coming back, you know, we need to we do need to have a sense of urgency, just for others, just a reminder that
Yeah,
every day, because at this point, we know what we're supposed to do. We do what we're supposed to do, in our maturity. That's a practice, that's a routine. We know the things that we're supposed to do, but we do need to remember all constantly, because he could come back any day. It's been like that for thousands of years. He could come back any day. We want to be found faithful in that we're sharing what we know, about Christ and about what he's done in our lives. So something for us to always be prayerful about those who he brings into our path to minister to, for sure.
right.
Yeah.
And to listen,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of we build all these skills up to have the ability to talk about them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Exactly.
think about it this way: the ability to sell to somebody is the ability to communicate to somebody. The ability to
Right.
communicate to somebody is to be able to transfer one idea to the other. In other words, you're transferring the idea of Jesus to somebody,
Right. That's
and to
real.
help them understand that it's not an exchange of I give this to you, I want something back. I don't want nothing back.
Right. No.
I was I was just commanded to give this to
To
you
do this. That's right.
for
And
free.
what I love about God is because he's outside of time, you know, whenever we get it right, as long as we get it right, we've gotten it right. And so that's
That's
why
right.
I'm saying, it's
That's
important
the
for us to,
eternal part. Yeah,
yeah, that's why I'm saying it's important for us to have that mentality because, like sometimes in this life, I know for me, there's been times where I said, man, I'm just not doing enough, been like, Lord, help me because I haven't ministered to anybody in a long time, whatever it is. But the beautiful part is God knows those desires. And when they do come, if we can get that sense of urgency and just pray for opportunities and everything, the good thing is God has seen our lives from beginning to end. So just because in our 20s or our 30s we may have missed the mark, we may not have shared like we wanted to, that doesn't mean that we can't. God sees it all, and that's the beautiful thing about God. He sees our lives as a whole, and it's encouraging because so many times in our own minds we can down ourselves and we say, well, we're not doing enough. And in different facets of life, we're not doing this, but because God sees us all and we're not a finished product and he's outside of time, we can take hope in knowing that he would, as the word says, the work of Christ that's been begun in us, he will finish that work, you know, in Jesus' name, he will finish it, man.
yeah. Well, and the other side of it is too. You're talking about from someone that's from the aspect of being already saved,
Yeah.
and the way I look at it is goes back to parent and child relationship. He is the ultimate parent,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
are his children. You know, so as a parent, if your child says "save me,"
Yeah.
what are you
Right.
going to do? You're
You're
going to
gonna
save your
say,
kid,
yeah, exactly.
and so that's what every human being needs to understand. God is the ultimate parent. Whichever one that you identify with the most, your mom or your dad, doesn't matter. Just ask him to save you.
Right. Amen.
And
Amen.
it's doesn't get any more simple than that. Save me.
Mm,
And
mm.
even if you have to, and again, if it was from your willful heart, like you genuinely say, save me, I believe he saves you.
He says, yeah.
And it's stamped. Like
Yeah.
you're already stamped in. Now you're gonna mess up, you're gonna do things you shouldn't do, but he's your again, you think about it as a parent. As a parent, in the love that you have for your child,
Yeah.
as a human being. Now, obviously he's supernatural. He's above natural. The good thing is he doesn't change.
Right.
Like as a parent, he loves you. So if you say save me, he's not
Yeah.
going to turn around and say, no, you're not saved. No, he said,
Right.
of course, I love you. I always want to love you. Of course. I'm not going to just change my mind just because you change your mind. I don't change
Yeah.
my mind.
He's
I'm your dad. Of course I'm not going to
yeah.
change my mind. Why
Right.
would
Yeah.
I change
His
my
his
mind?
mind doesn't change.
Like
Only
like
we.
he that's where comedy came from. It came from him.
Yeah.
He gave us laughter because we to soothe this life.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
think
For
about it.
sure.
If you love your children, your child, a child, anything, if you love something so much, why would you change your mind about it?
You
If your child you love so much says save me, you're never gonna change.
you're not gonna change. He doesn't change. We change.
We
He doesn't
change.
change. Yeah.
No,
He's always
no.
in that place
So every human
of
being needs to
love. Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Just say save me. That's it. It's like
I
that's
mean,
it.
and
Yeah.
he tells us like what you just said, save me. He tells us in his word. He literally says, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that I'm Lord, Jesus speaking, you will be saved. Like that's what you're saying. He's saying just all you got, just say save me. Like really believe. Like if I'm speaking to you because I'm the creator of the universe, and it's apparent that I've done this by my hands. So now, if I'm speaking to you, if your spirit is hearing me speaking. You know I'm speaking. Just accept me speaking, and I will save you. And I will save you and I will walk you through this life. Yes, it's gonna be hard things that you go through sometimes, but that's life. But if you just would put your trust in me and keep your trust in me, you're saved. You're saved because I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, for sure.
that's it. And
That's it,
you
man.
know, and the amazing thing about the human life is religions. Religions have so many different layers of trying to understand
Yeah.
beyond this life, you know. And Christianity is the one religion that, in spite of its of the things that have happened after Christ's death, it still leans completely on one man's death, whose death was very horrific.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just the crucifixion; it's the fact that, in essence, he was an innocent man.
Yeah.
If you just look at
All that.
the man side of it,
He was as
the guy,
innocent as
he
possible.
yeah, he
Him,
did
his
not. He wasn't like trying to cause an insurrection, like
no.
literally revolt against the Roman Empire. It was like literally, and the Jewish community looked at him as a threat. And the trial itself, it's like
Yeah.
the guy's like, "What am I doing here? You guys want me to crucify him? Like crucify him? I can just put him in prison? Like no, crucify him." If and the fact that as a leader of a religion, he lived a normal life, well, a life up to
Mm-hmm.
the 30s.
Yeah.
You look at the Buddha. Buddha was born prince of a king, had four palaces, according to legend, that he would go to each season. He would live a very sheltered life. He had a wife and a kid. He was sheltered from seeing death, sickness, old age, you know.
Mm.
But then he woke up one day and he decided to go and embark to find out life itself. Because in India they believed in the cycle of reincarnation. He wanted to break that cycle. Is there a way to go outside of reincarnation? And then the Four Noble Truths. Then you look at Islam and its tenets of its religion and the Jewish religion. But you look at Christianity and it's just so much more. There's just so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of it, there's blood. There's things that the Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition. There's even in recent history with Christianity. I mean, but it's all human. It's all human condition.
Yeah.
We can just stop and start to ask ourselves as human beings, what's beyond this? How did this all come to be? You know, what's our next steps? What's beyond this? But again, it's getting beyond survival. We got to get
Yeah.
out of survival mode.
Yeah. Got to, man. Yeah. And on that note, bro, that's a
That's a
pound.
pound.
Oh, where's the camera? Oh, there it is.
Oh
Look, I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
at it. Yeah, yeah. All right, bro. Hey, man, this has been real. This is a real
That's it.
one.
This has been a real
Yeah,
something else.
yeah. Keep going. High,
It's
higher and
layers.
higher, man. There's
Yeah.
layers to this thing. That's right, man. But bro, man, it's been a pleasure as always, man. I just pray y'all have a blessed rest of your Saturday and weekend. And yeah, tell the family, Jill and the little ones, I said hello. Uncle
Yes,
Derek
I'll
said
tell Uncle
hello.
Daryl hello. Yeah.
I don't know what you just said, my name. It sounded like you said Daryl, but okay. Uncle Yeah, man. And I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, love you, bro.
Appreciate it. All right, love you, bro. Peace.
Bye. Bye.
All right.